Workin Wardrobe, stylist Arthel speaking. Oh, hi bub, how's it going? No, you didn't. Well, now you know. I'll definitely make an episode explaining it so no one else makes the same mistake you did. All right, thank you so much for calling. Bye-bye. Let's talk dress codes. This will be fun. Hey fashion faux pas, welcome to Workin Wardrobe, a show where I, Arthel Hayes, graciously answer your fashion questions and give you the historical 411 on why what I told you works. I'll help you wear your clothes instead of them wearing you. And by the end of each episode, your closet and your favorite clothing racks will hopefully be a little less daunting. In today's episode, my caller completely underdressed at an important seance simply because they didn't know what the dress code meant. What a shame. Hopefully, we can remedy that and prevent any future mistakes with my first segment, Wearable Wisdom. So, my caller made an awful mistake, but an honest one. Humans tend to have pretty convoluted rules when it comes to events, and even I, someone who loves rules, can recognize that. The dress codes are sneaky, and people have different definitions depending on what era they grew up in. They can be even more confusing if you've never encountered them before. You'll often see them listed for important and well-organized events, like company dinners, meetings, or weddings. There's a crazy amount of them too, but I'll go over the most common ones and what they mean. The great thing about a list of dress codes is that it rises in formality. I'll start with the least formal to the most formal. Let's start with casual. Whatever you'd normally wear on any regular day, aim for jeans, since they're specifying a dress code, even if it's casual. Humans are complex creatures, so if they specifically ask for something, you'll probably want to spice it up just a bit. You know, since they had to ask. They may say casual, but they normally don't always mean casual. Dress comfortably, but depending on the location, they may specifically ask for a casual outfit without jeans. If that happens, pretend you're going to one of those country clubs. A sundress or a long skirt, a plain t-shirt or a button-up polo, and good unripped jeans are all good options. Wear something you wouldn't mind being photographed in. Dressy casual. Dressy casual seemed like my worst nightmare when I first heard about it, but it's pretty simple once you look around. It strikes a perfect balance between formal and casual, and you see it implemented most at fundraisers or networking events. If you're still not sure what to wear, imagine you're going to a nice dinner date at a fancy-ish restaurant. Business casual. Casual office wear, pretty self-explanatory. As with any business event, you're going to want to check with your company's dress code first, but usually you can count on the following being okay: khakis, sport coats, polos, and the like. Business formal. You might see this code mentioned for a really important meeting with some really higher-ups. You're going to want to keep it simple and classy since this is a business-related dress code. Suits are a go-to, feminine or masculine. It's probably the easier one on the list, honestly. It's hard to mess up. Semi-formal. You might hear this and think, wait, isn't this just dressy casual? And with that thought, you'd be wrong. Typical of mortals. But there's no shame here, since you're watching me to learn. Semi-formal is essentially more formal than business formal. It's also described as cocktail. This is where you can break out a slightly more fun tie, depending on the event, a dark suit, and a little black dress. Black tie. Black tie is by far more formal than anything else so far, as is the nature of this list. If you've ever been to an American prom, you'll basically know what this looks like. It's most often used for events like that, as well as weddings and theater or opera. You're going to want to break out a formal gown or the dressiest cocktail dress you own, and a black tuxedo or a dinner jacket. White tie. This is as fancy as it gets. It's your chance to wear anything royalty would wear. This is more formal than black tie. There's very few humans who actually get to go to white tie events, and when they do, it's expensive to try and live up to the standard. You're going to want long gloves and a ball gown or a black tailcoat, gloves, and cufflinks. Yeah, I told you, it's fancy. Some overall rules to keep in mind are as follows. Wear black to funerals, wear white to weddings, wear darker colors in the evening and lighter colors in the daytime, wear bright colors in summer, pastels in spring, warm colors in fall, and cooler, darker colors in winter. And when in doubt, ask the organizer of the event if the outfit you have in mind would work. There's usually no harm in asking, but some humans can be judgmental. Then again, what creature isn't a little judgy? Hopefully you aren't, and you'll want to join me in my next segment where I give you the 411 on the history of dress codes. Hold tight. Welcome to Who What Where, the segment where I give you the cultural 411 on fashion history. The history of fashion is culturally vast, since every human and culture on the planet has a form of dressing and decorating themselves. But, like most of history, you'll find that a lot of Western culture seems to be the most prominent. That's because of two things. One, I live in the Western world, so that's what comes up the most in my research. And two, colonization. But there are many ways in which Western and non-Western cultures find similar ground to stand on, and dress codes are a perfect example of such ground. When you're wealthier in a monetary sense or just have more goods and resources, you tend to have more time and spare resources to do frivolous things, such as decorate yourself. And for whatever reason, a sense of individuality and identity comes along with that, and degrees of separation are created. A part of this comes in the form of dress codes. Dress codes were initially implemented by royalty. Although everyone would dress in the fashion of the day, just with more comfortable or accessible or affordable fabrics, it was more common for the upper class to isolate themselves via laws in order to weed out whoever they felt didn't belong, or made it so their events only had a certain type of people show up. In late 1500s England, there were laws banning contraband clothing or clothing that was contrary to good order or offensive. Queen Elizabeth I defended the limitations on clothing, saying that it was a matter of national security to be modest. On the opposite end of the spectrum, women in a city in Tuscany in 1337 outlawed veils, cloaks, and hoods for all women that weren't nuns. A law in Florence in 1322 forbade women from wearing all black altogether unless they were widows. The biggest and most obvious ban that you might not have thought of? Crowns. In fact, it was pushed so hard that no one but royalty have crowns that crowns still aren't a normal piece of attire, even for white tie events. They're mainly reserved for events where one is artificially or temporarily crowned as royalty, rather than being a fun statement piece for every day. And I, quite frankly, find that ridiculous. King Henry VIII passed the most famous version of sumptuary laws, which restricted certain colors of clothing to the upper class, as well as saying they could only wear clothing from exotic places or cloth of higher quality. If you were anything less than a lord, you couldn't wear gold or silver, or wool from outside of England. I mentioned Queen Elizabeth I before, Henry's daughter, but it's a shame I haven't mentioned her more. I certainly don't praise her for much, as I don't praise any member of any royal family, but she certainly understood how important fashion was. She used it to her advantage since people really didn't think that a woman could be queen. She made her status plain to all by wearing the most luxurious clothing and only allowing people who did the same to be associated with her. It was expensive to be in her circle. If we skip ahead to 1740 in America, we find another instance of a dress code being implemented. South Carolina's Negro Act. It banned enslaved black people in America from wearing clothes much above the condition of slaves, for the procuring of which they used sinister and evil methods. Basically, it made sure that it was obvious when a slave was a slave. So, as you can tell, dress codes began as laws in order to separate man from man. Flesh is weak and brains are weaker. They're just strong enough to keep a pattern and take it out of its historical context. Humans still use dress codes to this day, but not to actively weed out the poor. They may still do so inherently, but it's not a purposeful decision most of the time. It's usually just because humans want a cohesive look to their event. You know, y'all got the pattern-seeking brains and whatnot, right? At the end of the day, fashion is about expressing oneself. Hopefully, I can show you how to express yourself in the next segment. Welcome to Workin Wardrobe. In here, I will utilize all that I've taught you today to make an outfit that follows dress code rules and one that breaks them. Let's say we're going to a wedding. How about a simple dark purple dress and some comfortable heels? If it runs into the evening, I'll bring along a matching cardigan, which looks not so great on the mannequin. Sorry, girl. I'll do a simple gold jewelry, because of course I am. I love gold. Let's get a close look at these accessories. And ta-da! The final look. Quick, right? I love this outfit and I can't wait to get a chance to wear it out. Now, let's break the rules. Don't actually break the rules in real life in this case. You don't want to offend anybody. Let's start with a mostly white dress. Already a big no-no. Let's add the uncomfortable heels, and I'm gonna make the accessories match, but this is not me saying you should wear this outfit. At least to a wedding. And voila! An outfit you should never wear to a wedding. Uncomfortable and offensive. Thank you so much for joining me today in the Workin Wardrobe. I hope you learned something about dress codes, but if you didn't, I'll leave you with this. When in doubt, ask. But regardless of the dress code or the moment or the event, never forget to add personal flair to every outfit. The purpose of fashion is to wear something that you like, not what other humans like. So do what you will, and don't forget to stay wicked.